Okay, let's try this again. Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries for another planner setup video. I am so excited for today's video because it is all about my health planner. Unfortunately, the beginning part of this that I thought recorded did not, so we are going to be starting off as we are now and continuing forward. But if you are new to planner setup videos on this channel, I take you through the whole process of having a blank notebook, in this case a semi-blank notebook, and how I set it up for the entire year of how I plan on using the book. And my health planner is definitely one of my favorite books every single year, and I'm very, very excited because I am going back into a sterling ink. So I'm not going to go over supplies since I already kind of started. I'm just going to say what I'm using as I go. But this is the Sterling Ink N2 Compact Horizontal. It is essentially the same layout as a Hobonichi Weeks, but it's a bit more space on the page and a little less, I'd say, details. It doesn't have as many like extra things that like the Hobonichi Weeks does. So it's a bit more customizable, a bit more plain. The color I chose is the tweed. This is what it looked like before I put all the stickers on the front. And it is definitely a nice, really cool linen-like texture almost. It is a PU leather, I believe, and the paper in this is Sans and Wave paper. And I have not done a pen test yet, so we're going to see how well it behaves. Anyways, as for the stickers, I have already stuck on the front because I thought I was recording it, but I wasn't. Let me just share what I have on here. I have a cute butt sticker from 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗵. I have several seals and stickers from the Coffee Monsters Co. And then I have a Radiate Positivity sticker from my shop and a 2026 in the beige colorway also from my shop. So where I left off, I am going to be adding in a few more stickers to the front here, and then I'm going to move on to the back cover. With that being said, there's going to be no music in these videos. There will be references in the timestamps for different sections of the planner that I will be doing, and at the end I will have a full flip through of the whole thing in case you just want to see what it looks like as a finished product. So let's just keep going. I am going to keep using the star stickers that I had from my 2025 books. I still have some of these left, so I want to keep using them. And I think I'm just going to stick with the gold, but I also thought I might do the pink, but I think the gold will look the best. So let me zoom you guys in a little bit more. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do a few gold stickers here and there just to fill in a bit more of the empty space. Surprisingly, these stickers stick very well on this type of fabric cover. I'm very impressed with that and very happy to see that because I feel like that's, I don't know, challenging for fabric covers is to get stickers to stick if you want to have like a sticker collage on the front of your book. Anyways, I'm just going to cut this star so I can have it look like it's going off the edge of the book. Oops. And then I'm going to take the other piece that's also kind of going off the edge. Maybe here. I don't want to put it too close to the spine because I don't want it to crease. But I'm just going to do, I think, one more star and do the same thing where I cut it and then have the star look like it's going off the edges. But I'm going to do this one like fully in half versus a quarter of it. Anyways, since I missed the first part of this sticking down and placing the stickers, I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep going, but that is all I plan on doing for the front cover. I do want to do the back cover with a vellum. I've really been enjoying the kind of look of having like a fun cover in the front and then on the back having something really simple. So the vellum that I chose is from my shop and I think it matches pretty well. It is the Autumn Inky Vellum. I love the browns and the oranges, and I felt like it matched the kind of pinks and yellows that I was going for this year. The theme I wanted to do is kind of more of like sunshine. I just have really been enjoying the bright colors lately, and I wanted to change it up because I always do like green and pink for my health planner. So I figured for this year, I might as well do something a bit different. And did I already get crap on the front? I did. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Let me do some surgery really quick. Super easy fix. Anyways, I don't know what I was saying. I'm just gonna glue this on the back of the book here using a tape runner. So very similar to how I did my last planner with you guys, which I think was my A6. But I'm just going to take the tape runner and glue directly onto the book, and that way I can place the vellum a bit easier. And I'm just going to do a little bit on each corner because I do plan on putting this book into a clear cover. So that is probably good enough. And I'm just going to attempt to line this up on the edge over here. And slowly push it down. All right, I think that looks really good. I'm gonna go ahead and put the clear cover on it since I'm pretty much done with the outside cover. And the clear cover I'm using is from Sterling Ink. It is the one meant to fit this size of planner. Actually, before I put the clear cover on, let me do the inside covers. Okay, so I want to do a washi wallpaper situation, similar to how I've done it in previous years, but instead of doing multiple washies, I'm just going to do one washi and fill up the whole thing. So, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to clip down the side over here just to help weight it a little bit since it's new and the planner hasn't relaxed fully yet. And I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Okay, so this is the washi I want to use. It is from the Washi Tape shop. It is from one of their sets, a set of 3. I'll try to put the name of it on the screen if I can. But I just want to do like this the whole way up. So it's going to look like wallpaper or floral wallpaper. And I think it'll look really cute when I'm done. I hope. Anyways, I'm just going to cut strips of this out to fit roughly where I want this to go. And I'm going to get my big scissors for this. Yeah, I'm just going to cut off some strips. And I want the front and the back covers to match. So it's essentially going to be the same thing here in the front as it's going to be in the back. And I should have enough tape here because this is almost a brand new roll. And I am an affiliate with the Washi Tape shop now. I have been for a while. I've also used their tapes for a very long time. But if you want a discount, it's 10% off with code Danielle10. Or you can just literally follow whatever big discount they have going on at the moment. They'll have it at the top of their website. But I truly adore the Washi Tape shop. I have used their tapes for years. Okay, so I think 4 strips, is enough. Let me take this piece of tape off. 4 strips is enough. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up, I think. And this is like super tricky to do in person. So on camera, if I mess up, please don't judge me because it's very tricky to do this with an audience, even if I can't even see you guys. But I'm just going to line this up on the edge as best I can. And then take my hand and slowly push it all the way down onto the page. And then I'm going to leave the ends here for now, just in case I need to adjust. I'm hoping I won't need to adjust because adjusting is a bit challenging. But I'm just going to leave the ends on the pages, on the ends of the tape for now. And keep going with the rest of the strips. The only downside is the tape is not going to match completely where like the design's not going to match up all the way, but I think I'm okay with that, honestly. It adds a bit more uniqueness, I guess is the word I'm going for. But my best advice for you is, if you're doing this to your own planner, is to be very patient and take your time and start with washi paper or washi tape before you move on to PET tape to do this, because at least with the washi you will be able to hopefully adjust the placement without ripping the backing of the page. With PET tape it is a bit more challenging. But yeah, I mean, just take it slow. That's the easiest advice I got you, is to take it slow. Okay, so this last one is going to overhang a lot at the top here. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick it down anyways, and then I'll cut it like I cut the other sides. Alternatively, I could measure this and cut it before I stick the tape down, but I think I'm going to be more happy with placing the tape and then cutting it, because if I accidentally cut it crooked, like not on the page, I think I would be more upset. Okay, all of the wallpaper is down, so now I'm going to take my tiny scissors and I'm going to lift the edge of the page here and do my best to only have the one backing page, and I'm going to go relatively slowly and cut the edges completely off. Alternatively, you could take an X-Acto knife and a hard surface and cut it off that way, but I just find this to be a lot easier for me personally, and I can see what I'm doing a bit better. I don't necessarily always trust myself with an X-Acto knife, but you definitely want to go slow because you can lift the edges of the tape up, which is not what you want. And also, just to be aware, if you cut too deep, you might end up cutting a piece of the page off, which isn't horrendous. It happens, but just know that that is a possibility. I'm going to move on to the cover side now, which is a bit more challenging to do, just because of the angle for me, but you're less likely to cut the cover because it's thicker, so you can go a little bit faster here, at least in my experience. So that is the inside cover done. In the interest of time for this video that's already going to be very long, I'm going to go ahead and do this inside piece as well as the back inside cover and this piece too. So I will be back in a minute and we will keep going. I just want to, you know, focus more time on like the bulk of the planner versus like all of the little details. So you saw how I did this. I'm doing the exact same thing in here and in the back. Okay, so I finished the back and inner covers. This is what they ended up looking like. I really liked how this looks, and it used up a really good chunk of my tape. So if you're anything like me and you just have a bunch of tapes that you want to use up, I highly recommend trying washi wallpaper or doing a washi dashboard. At this point, I am ready to put the clear cover on. So like I mentioned, this is a clear cover from Sterling Ink. It is the same one that fits with this planner. So it's the N2 compact size. And I'm hoping that it's going to fit without a heat gun or without the need of a heat gun. We shall see. But I'm going to just slip the back cover in first and then flip the cover on itself. And I'll show you what that means here in a second. So I'm just going to gently push this in here because the Sterling ink planner covers are so flexible, which I love. They do have a bit more of a struggle, I would say, to get into a clear cover, but it's not impossible. It just takes a little bit more, how do I say this? Like a little bit more patience, I guess. But yeah, so I flipped the cover back on itself. So I have the back cover flipped towards you guys, and I'm just going to flip the front cover in the same manner so both covers are facing each other, and slowly slide this one on as well. You also want to be careful sliding because you did just do all this washi. The washi could curl underneath the cover here and start to stick to the clear cover itself. So like I mentioned, just go slow. And if you need to back up and do it again, you can always do that too. Or if your washi continues to lift, definitely glue down the edges, and that helps a ton. And yay, I don't need to heat gun the cover at all. It looks so good. Anyways, but this is the front, and I love how happy and cheerful it looks. I think the sunshine vibe I was going for is definitely there. But yeah, let's just keep going on in the planner. There's lots left to do. And yeah, I think we're just going to keep decorating for the moment. And I think on this flyleaf page here where it has the 2026 full year, I want to do some more vinyls. I have so many vinyls I'm trying to use up, either ones from my shop or ones that I have acquired from the Coffee Monsters Co. And I always want to, I guess, have like a nutrition label in my health planners, and so I'm definitely going to be using one of those for my shop. Anyways, I think I want to do something like this, keep it very like uniform, and then have a matching one in the back. And I think I can explain that here in a minute, but this is what I'm thinking of right now. I really like the dried leaf water, and I like that I can cover up most of the text of the Common Planner. Not that I want to cover up her branding or anything, I just like a more seamless look of just deco. And I think this is what I want to go with. So yeah, okay. This is the Taurus nutrition label vinyl from my shop. I have a snacks planner label also from my shop that I hand wrote Danielle on. And then this is the I Heart Dried Leaf Water from the Coffee Monsters Co. I love this vinyl so much. But yeah, I think I'm going to just start sticking down, because if I sit here and debate, we're going to be here for 10 million years. And that's not feasible for anybody, including myself. So let's just keep going. And in the interest of getting this sticker on straight first before I do the other ones, I'm going to scoot this closer to myself so I can line it up with the edge of the page. And then I will show you guys the rest here in a second. But that is perfect. Okay, so now it is down. I'm going to go ahead and do the top one next, so that way it's more balanced for space in the middle. So if you're ever trying to center something and you're worried that it's not going to center between two things that are different sizes, start at the bottom and then do the top, or do the top and then do the bottom, whichever direction, and then you will find a middle ground that you can find between both of those things. That might make it a bit easier to find the middle space. So here I have both of those items down, and I can evenly space this label between both of those items because I have truly found the center spot for this sticker. Just, I guess that's how my mind works when I'm trying to arrange stickers on the page. If I'm trying to get one that's like way more centered than another, I just try to keep the rest of the page balanced first and then do the center. All right, and then to keep up with using up my star stickers, I'm just going to add a couple of stars here as well. I'm going to keep up with the gold for now. If I end up using the pink ones, I will see, but I think the gold is really what I want for this planner, because I want it to be very, I don't know, sunshine. Sunshine just keeps screaming at me, so that's what I'm going to go with here, is just sunshine. And I think I'm going to keep it at just those three. And then I am going to take a marker, this one. I'm going to take my Tombow N15, which is just the black one, and I'm going to take the bullet tip side and just do little page freckles. This is what I call them anyways, and I just feel like it helps add a little bit more to the page because of the negative space, so it's not just very plain looking. I don't know how else to describe it other than it just needs a little bit more moreness. But yeah, that is all I'm going to do for this. And it looks like the dots did not bleed through on the other side, which is fantastic. So I'm going to keep going, and we're just going to go from front cover to back cover instead of back and forth. I think that'll be easier. Anyways, the next section in here is the year at a glance page. So I want to use this how I've used previous years, and that is with pain tracking. And I can just show you an example here in my Hobonichi Weeks of how I've done it. So it's a different layout because it's a different planner, but similar concept where I will have a key for my headaches, digestion, and depressive days, and just kind of check them off in a dot fashion on the calendar itself. So I'm going to go ahead and do the key, I think. Actually, no, let's do the vision board first. So there's this lovely blank space on this other page, and I love creating vision boards in Canva. So all I've done here is just collected a series of images and formatted them in Canva to fit on a 3x7, I think, sheet. And then I cut it with my corner rounder to make the edges more seamless. I want to do a tutorial on how to do these, but I'm really challenged when it comes to screen recording on my computer. So I haven't done it yet, but I'm hoping my lovely husband can help me figure it out. So, stay tuned. Maybe I'll have one coming soon. I don't know. No promises, but let me go ahead and get this ready to stick down. If you've never stuck down a full sheet sticker, which this whole thing is a sticker, by the way, I printed this on weatherproof matte sticker paper from Online Labels. It's one of my favorite sticker papers, honestly. And if you've never stuck a full page sticker down, I like to fold down just a piece of the backing. So this part is sticky and the rest of this is not. That way I can line it up very easily of where I want it on the page before committing to sticking it down. I just find that it's a lot simpler to have only part of the sticker stuck down at once and then slowly move it down the rest of the way. And I'm going to use a, whatchamacallit. I'm going to use a pencil board to help keep this straight going down. I learned this tip from Siobhan over at 𝗤𝗃𝗁𝗁. She is fantastic. I love her so much, and I'm excited to try her plans planner out for 2026 as well. But she suggested you use this to keep the sticker flat versus your hand. So I'm going to flip the sticker up so I can peel the backing up, and then as I go, I'm going to use the pencil board and push down in this fashion to stick the sticker down more flat. And we're just going to go very slow and do this, yeah, just slowly so we don't get any bubbles. That's what I'm avoiding here, is bubbles. All right. And I think that is pretty fantastically put on, if I do say so myself. The page does curl a little bit. It'll relax over time. It's just because the full sticker is pulling the page a little bit, and also probably because I was flexing the pencil board too much, which is fine. I can live with that. I will just clip it down for now, so that way it is out of our way. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and try to do the key for the pain tracker over here. I want to just put like a little cute vinyl or something to like keep up some of the negative space, and then just because the key's not going to take up this whole room, so I think I'm going to do my little coffee mug sticker here. This is the cozy coffee mug from my shop. And because I'm nervous about placing it, I'm just going to take some of the sticky off the back. And that way, if I needed to move it, I can move it. But okay, I think that's good enough for me. And then I'm going to take my Pentel Sign brush pen here. These are my favorite brush lettering markers ever. I've used them. I've gone through so many of these black ones. It's not even funny. But I'm going to use this to write out the word key. And then I'm going to also pick some dot markers, some zig dot markers to be what I use as my like tracking up here. So let me think of some colors really quick. Okay, so I picked these ones out. I think these are going to match the colors of the dashboard and also just the colors of the planner in general. So I'm going to do a yellow dot here, an orange. So this yellow one is called Summer Sun. The orange is called Island Coral. And this turquoise one is called Ocean. And I'm going to write down the description of the key items using my fountain pen, actually, yes. This is a Jinhao 10 in the gold stripe. It's essentially a dupe for the 𝗦𝘃𝗽𝗚 capless exclusive. I'm so happy with it. I do have a real Pilot nib in this, though. It has a Pilot fine nib in it, and it's inked up with Pilot black. But I'm going to go ahead and make the yellow the headaches, the orange my digestive tracking, and then my teal color the more depressive days. Which ultimately, hopefully I don't need to have any dots at all in 2026, but I know that likely will not be the case because, I mean, nobody's perfect like that. Anyways, I feel like this needs a little bit more of a border to the page, so I'm going to take this thin washi from the washi tape shop again, and it's just like a little stars, and I'm just going to do, I think, a strip here. And then I'm going to do another strip at the top up here, just to kind of frame the page a little bit. I don't know, I just like the way it looks better when the page has a bit more of a frame. And as a plus, it helps me use up my giant stash of washi. Okay, I think I am done with the Year at a Glance pages here. So let's keep going. I think I'm going to do, actually no, I'm going to add one more star to this page too, so we keep the star theme going throughout. I really just want to use all these up. That's really the mission here. Okay, looks good to me. We'll add a couple of freckles just because. Okay, moving along. The next section in here is, oh, okay, so the 2 blank page spread. I want to do my body measurements here, and I'm just going to do a kind of basic outline of the body measurements because obviously I have not measured my body yet for 2026, but I do want to show you guys how I have done this before. I have done this, I think, 3 years now. But I essentially have a little spread in my planners that have my body measurements. So I take my measurements at like the end of one year and then at the end of the next year and see how my body changes. This is my 2025 spread. So these were my measurements back in 2024. And then at the end of 2025, I will take new measurements and fill them in and see the difference, I guess. So essentially I'm going to do the same thing that I did on these pages, just with different stickers, I guess. And let me see if I can find the stickers that I wanted to use in the giant stack of stuff that I got out for this. Okay, so these are the 2 girl stickers that I picked out. They are both from a roll from London Gifties. I think I'm going to do the shorter girl first and then the taller girl on the other side. Obviously I'm not going to grow in height, but it's just the size of the stickers. And I'm going to go ahead and also frame the page similarly to how I did the other ones. Let me cut these out so they're a bit more kiss cut versus the big clear backing of this PET tape. Okay, so those are cut out. Let me get some of this skinny tape cut to size really quick. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and frame the page first. before I stick the girls down, just that way I have a better understanding of where I want to place them, since I'm going to be writing all around them of like the different measurements, and then also, you know, like a title for the page and things like that. Okay, so let me do the titling next, which I need that Pentel Sign brush pen again. And I'm just going to title the left page as body measurements. And I may have spelled that incorrectly, but it's fine. I am going to just live with it for forever. But this first page here is going to be 2025, so I'm going to do 2025 also. Handwritten, and then I'm going to stick this girl down kind of in the middle of the page. And if you're ever struggling to get a sticker off, this is usually what I try first before I get tweezers, is I will take the tip of my finger and I will roll on the edge of the design and see if I can get it to lift, in which case it just did. So it sticks to your finger and you can get the backing off very easily with the other hand. Also, if you have a very clingy PET tape, this is when I highly recommend just taking it and sticking it to your arm, whatever, to get some of the sticky off, and it will also de-static it, I think is the word. But I'm just going to try to put this somewhat in the middle. If it doesn't end up perfect, it is totally okay, but I am happy with that. And then later I will go back in and write all the measurement things around. For now, I'm just going to keep it like this. And then for this other girl, I'm going to put her a bit more towards the top of the page and write 2026. Actually, no, I'm going to write 2026 up here at the top versus at the bottom. And then I will again go back in later to do the rest of the measurements in this page, and I'll show you guys the final version at the end. Excellent. Okay, so essentially the bones of the body measurement page is done. I will likely go back in with my fountain pen to do all of the outer circles, just to give you an idea of what measurements I will be measuring. I measure my head, my neck, my arm, around like my bicep, my forearm, my wrist, my hips, my above the knee leg, my ankle, my calf, my upper thigh, which is kind of like the uppermost part of my thigh, my waist, my chest, and my bust. And then I also write down what I start with as a weight-wise for the beginning of the year and what my ending weight would be at the end of the following year. So there you go. That's what I have listed out, and that's what will end up on these pages here in a little bit, but I'm going to do these later off camera. The next section is the goals section. So I actually do want to use these as goals. However, I'm not quite sure what I want to write down completely yet, but I do know which goals I want to write down. So I'll do the goal part with you guys, but as for filling out the rest of the page, much like the body measurements, I'm going to do that off camera, probably because it's going to take me a while, and also because I don't even know what I want to say yet. It is only November, so I don't really have all of my thoughts laid out for my health goals for next year yet. But let's go ahead and do the actual breakdown of the goals. I do want to go ahead and use one of my goals script stickers from my shop to title the page because it's smaller up here. But before I stick this down, I want to go ahead and border the page again with that kind of same thin tape that I've been using up. And this one should be pretty low after this because I think I've used this one before. But ultimately my goal is always to use my stash of stuff. Like I try not to buy too many new things for my planner setups because I already have so many things and I want to use what I have because obviously I bought it for a reason. There's some exceptions, I guess, to like my personal designed items because I want to use those because I'm excited because they're new and I created them, and I just want to use those. But like for the rest of my stuff, it's usually older or it's been sent to me, so I just use it up as I can. Okay, so now that I have the top border down, I'm going to go ahead and take my goals sticker script and just lightly place it on top of the pink that I already put down, just so it's kind of discreet, I guess. It's not like super in your face, but I do want like the page to have a label. And then I'm going to go ahead and border the rest of the page here. And this is honestly extra, like bordering a page is so not necessary, but I just really like the way it looks, so I'm doing it for my planner. Don't do it if you don't want to do it, okay, boo-boo? There's a lady on Instagram that does that, and she cracks me up every time. She's like, if you don't like it, then you don't have to do it, and that's on you, boo-boo. And I'm like, I agree with you, my woman. You are so right. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. There's nothing saying you have to do it. Okay, so let's talk about the different goals I have. I want to keep track of my goals for my running journey, my weightlifting journey, my healthy eating, my mental health, family planning because I want to become a mom next year, hopefully, and then also medicine or like just anything related to medical, I guess. So I do want to stick down some stickers, and I think these are the ones I picked out, but we shall see. And I want to do like each goal here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, perfect. So I'll do the stickers and the headings here, and then I'll fill out the goals another time, like I mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and stick down, I think, this little doctor sticker from the Coffee Monsters Co. on the bottom, and that's the one I will use for medicine. And then for family planning, I think I want to use one of these in love emojis, just because me being a mom is something it's something I've dreamed of for like so long. And I think I want to use this one, the one that's like holding the little heart, because it's just so cute. She's so cute. And I think I'll stick her right there. And then for the next goal was mental health. So daily affirmation emojis is probably the best one to go with here. I think I'm going to do the I am worth it one. I think that's the most mental healthy one on here. I mean, I am important's also good. I'm growing's good. I already pulled off I am worth it. We're sticking with my choice. Okay, and then the next one I have on here is healthy eating. So I'll use this one here again from the Coffee Monsters Co. I'm almost done with this sheet. I think I'm going to do the one actually cooking with a skillet and stick him down or her down. And then I have weightlifting, and I want to use my own sticker sheet for this. This is from my workout doodles, and I think I just want to do the dumbbells. And then for the other one is running, and I think I want to use, again, my own sheet. These are running shoe doodles, and I'm going to use the pair of running shoes versus the one that actually look like they're running. And I'll stick those up here. Okay, and then I'm going to take the same Pentel sign brush pen and write out underneath the goal itself. So this first one is running, and I'm going to just do these kind of small, but I do want to do them in like a more scripty font to match the goals up here. Okay, and then this one is weightlifting. Okay, and then I have healthy eating. And then this next one is mental health. And then family planning. I'm just going to put family for this spot because I don't think I can fit planning underneath it. So we'll just do family. And then at the bottom here, I'm just going to do medicine. Okay, and then like I mentioned, I will fill out the rest of this off camera, but I will show you guys like what I end up putting in here for sure. It's just not going to be right this moment. So let's just keep on going. I'm going to just stick this pencil board in between each time just in case it's not drying. I should mention that nothing is bleeding through and the paper is behaving beautifully so far. So that gives me very high hopes for this year's planner paper, at least, because the 2025 paper was a rough time. But yeah, okay, so the next section in here is new, I think, to the Sterling Ink planners, at least as of, I want to say she'd put it in like 2025 or something, but it's like a yearly tracker page. It's very similar to the Hobonichi Weeks tracker page, like this, where it has the full year on 2 pages, except the Sterling Ink one is gridded, which is what I really want. I love the grid. And I want to use this section for family planning. So once I set this up, I likely will not be sharing it here on the internet because that's, you know, very personal and I don't think that's something that everybody needs to know about. But I am going to go ahead and similarly to the other page here, I'm going to border it with the skinny washi, and then I'm also going to create a key for this. I'm going to do that completely off camera. So I'm only going to be doing the border with you guys, but essentially what I'm going to be tracking are like intimacy with my husband, any kind of pregnancy tests, ovulation tests, similar things that you would want to, I guess, keep track of if you're trying to start a family. So that's what these pages are going to be for. I'm not going to show you guys how I'm going to color coordinate or anything like that. I'm just going to border the page with you and essentially do what I just did and explain how I'm going to use the page. So it's for family planning. I should also mention that I originally was going to do a whole other book for my family planning. I was going to get like a little insert to pair with this book so it would all fit in the planner cover together. But since Sterling Ink has this tracker already in it, and she has another section that I can track like my workouts, I'm just going to use these 2 pages to keep track of what I need to keep track of. And then if I need to have a separate book later, I'll do that. But for now, I think this will work really well just because I don't feel like I'm going to need to keep track of a whole lot in the beginning. Towards the end, it might change, but for now, I feel like this is going to be structured enough for what I want to keep track of to just begin the process of trying to have kids. And I realize me talking about this is a very personal aspect of my life. Please note that I'm not trying to overshare or anything. I just am keeping you guys informed of how I'm using my book, and if it helps anybody else maybe in the same situation as me. It's an option of what to use for this space in your planner if you didn't have another idea for it, or you didn't want to use it for anything else maybe. Like, it's just another thing you can use these 2 pages for. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on into the next section. I'm going to leave my sticky note in here for me because I will set that up later without you guys because I do, like I said, it's very personal. Okay, next section in here is the quarterly pages. This is like the other page I was saying, like I would usually track my workouts on a spread like this, but instead I'm going to track it on these pages because there's a second set of pages. So I am going to go ahead and just explain this to you guys of how I'm going to use it because I don't really have a need to set this up right away because I'm not going to be using these pages until the year starts. But essentially, I'm going to be keeping track of my exercises here on the right page in these sections. So I will do similar to how I did in my Hobonichi Weeks here with the 3-dot system. So I have like gym or weightlifting, running, walking, or other, and I essentially put a dot down every time I do one of those things. So here I will put a dot down whenever I do one of those things. Since this is a larger section, I do plan on essentially cutting these sections in half, which I guess I could do that with you guys. So I'm going to take my Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liner here and a ruler that has disappeared. I guess I'll just use the edge of this pencil board. That'll work. And I'm going to cut this section in half. So I'm only going to be tracking 3 things, like I mentioned, the exercises, running or other or walking. And so I'm going to just take 3 of these squares and draw a delineating line to cut off the rest of the section of the tracker. And my plan is to write down here on the other side which body group I worked on. So like push, pull, legs, full for full body, arms, abs, something like that. I don't have the full system worked out yet, but that is what I am intending to do here. And I'm hoping that it will help me stay more on track and be more accountable of my exercises. But I'm just going to go ahead and cut these 3 columns in half. And essentially that is all I'm going to do for these pages right now. Because like I said, I'm going to wait to use them until I get closer to the year or the year actually starts. So yeah, this page will be for tracking those types of exercises. And this other page where there's a bit more of like a paragraph sized space, I'm going to do like a health review, essentially like how I'm feeling health wise, like did I meet my exercise goals? How's my healthy eating going? Just like a little check-in, little small, short, a few sentences of like a journal entry. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. And we're going to move on into the next section, which is the monthlies. And because the Sterling Ink Planner has multiple monthlies that I won't use for 2026, so it has a December of 2025 monthly in here and also a January of 2027 monthly in here, I'm going to repurpose these pages and make them collection pages. So this is what I did for my 2025 book, and I'm just going to continue it because I really enjoyed it so much. But essentially, I'm going to create a collection. So this is a tea and coffee collection page. I'm actually moving this into my morning pages journal, which I already talked about. But I do have other pages in here that I use for collections that I'm going to continue for 2026. And one of those is restaurants. So my husband and I have gone to several restaurants in 2025 already, and I want to continue keeping track of like the different places we try out. And so I'm going to create a little collection of this using the monthly page here in the Sterling Ink book, but it's essentially going to look very similar to this at some point in the year. I'm going to grab some washi tapes and we're going to do the side over here. Okay, so I'm going to use this washi tape here from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's just a very glittery, kind of goopy looking washi tape. I don't know, I felt it was very foodie looking, like melting chocolate or something. And then this one, again, for the bordering and also covering up the days of the week up here. I'm just going to use the thin washi to kind of do that, to make it a bit more less monthly looking. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe that. But essentially, it's going to be bordered the same way as I've done before. It's just going to be covering up the words this time. I could also use a white tape or like a white out tape if I wanted, to just get rid of like all of the numbers too, but I don't really care that much. I can ignore them pretty easily. So I just care more about covering up like the Monday through Sunday just to make the page look a bit more seamless. And then I'm going to use that other washi tape, like I mentioned, to cover up the 12 up in the corner. But let's go ahead and start with the bordering of this first. And the text on this one is a bit darker than my Hobonichi, so you can see it through the tape a little bit easier. I don't necessarily mind, but if that's something that you're concerned with and you want to do something similar to what I'm doing, just take that white out like I mentioned, or the white tape underneath it, and it'll help block out more of the text. And that is definitely not even. Did I cut this too long? I guess I did. Oh well, that's fine. Anyways, that is the top part. I'm going to take this tape here and just cover up the 12 a little bit. Just a rough cut there. And then I'm going to go ahead and frame the bottom of the page with the same tape and do something similar in the corner over here with that washi so it looks more balanced. And then we will write a heading for this page as well. And do some vinyls because I have this vinyl that says I love bread on it. And when I go to a restaurant, that's something I really care about, is the bread. So I felt it was very appropriate for my restaurant collections page to put a vinyl that says I love bread on it. Okay, and in the interest of keeping the drips kind of, I don't know, facing each other, I'm going to flip this washi upside down. So I have the drips facing downward here, and on the bottom I'm going to have them facing upward, just so it frames the page, I think, a little bit more. It's not super, you know, important, but I just like the way it looks better. And I am going to do, I think, a whole strip on the bottom here of this, and maybe even onto this other page, and just like a little snippet, just to keep the colors kind of flowing through the whole process. Anyways, this is the I Love Bread vinyl I have. It's from the Coffee Monsters Co., and it really reflects how I feel about bread. So we're going to stick this, I think, in the corner. And then I have a 222 vinyl from my shop that I also want to put on here because this means balance. And I'm thinking I can stick it underneath the Coffee Monsters Co. one. Because if I do it, well, I could do this slightly catty-wonker and then do that. I think I like that better. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So let me stick this down first. And we're gonna do this slightly tilted. And then we'll do the 222 on top of it. Just so that way I'm not covering up any letters or numbers. And I am perfectly okay with that. And then I'm also going to add in some stars to help balance the page even more. Yeah, we'll just do 2. I think 2 stars is good. And then it keeps the theme kind of flowing throughout the planner too. Okay, so now we need to put a title on this baby. And I think I'm going to do kind of what I did last year, honestly, and that is yummy restaurants. So I think I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to take the Pentel Sign brush pen, which is, you know, my favorite over here. And I think I'm going to do restaurants first and then do yummy on top of it. Let's give it a go. I think I'm going to skip doing the yummy part, and I'm just going to do restaurants and then do of over here really small and do 2026 underneath it. And then I will do a small the over here on this side to just kind of balance it out a little bit more. And I think I like that better than yummy. I think that works really well because then we have the restaurants of 2026. So then every time I go to a restaurant, either by myself, with friends, with my husband, whatever, I will put down what restaurant it is, my rating out of 5 stars, and maybe what I ordered, or how it went or something like that. Just like a little tiny blurb about the restaurants, because it's been really fun to look back and see the ones we've gone to so far in 2025. So I really like that. I think it looks nice. Okay, the next section in here is the rest of the monthlies, so I'm going to go ahead and do those with you guys. I'm not going to be setting them up completely, but I am going to be doing at least 1 month with you guys because I do want to use one of the new items I have from my shop. But for the purpose of how the planner will look, or like how I plan on using this section, I plan on using it as a mood tracker. So I have done this for I think 2 years now, and I'm going into my 3rd. I want to use it as a mood tracker using the emoji head stickers from the Coffee Monsters Co. I love these stickers. I feel like they just really emanate how my mood is on the day of. And as for like how I pick a mood sticker, I just literally pick whichever one I feel in that moment represents the day. So if it was like an overall neutral day, I'll pick a more neutral sticker. Overall good day, pick a good sticker. Overall bad day, pick a bad sticker. Things like that. But this is ultimately what I want to do for this year. But I want to go ahead and like pre-decorate the pages using these, which are the date covers from my shop. This is one of the new 2026 release items I'm very excited about. These actually are misfits, the ones I have here, because they have some random dots from my printer that was messed up. So I'm just using the misfit ones. The ones that you would get in the shop, like if you were to purchase them from me, will not have any of these really random dots all over them. Anyways, I am going to go ahead and just do January with you guys. And I'm also going to use these headers. So these are the sparkly month headers. And I'm going to put these over here on the side of the page as well. So we're going to just do January together, and then I'm going to do the rest of the months off camera by myself. Okay, so I'm going to start off by taking the like weekday headers up here and just plopping them down on top of the pre-existing ones on the planner. These are the abbreviated sparkly weekdays. You can actually get these on a full sheet if you just want the weekday stickers. But I just felt like these would look so cute to like make the font a little bit more bold at the top. And this is the clear matte sticker paper, but it's doing a pretty decent job of hiding the text underneath. We'll see how it goes here in a second when I do the numbers, because these numbers are a bit darker than previous years. But I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to just start with 1 and move my way down. Yeah, so you can see it through the sheet. I don't really care enough to make a big deal about it. Or go get a set of the white ones, because these are misfits and this is my planner, and ultimately I can read through what's on top, I guess. But yeah. Oh, I should also mention that every single sheet of these has 31 days. So no matter the month, it will have 31 days. So you can mix and match colors if you want to just do colors for certain months or whatever. Like it's totally customizable up to you. But they're designed to just sit in the corner of the monthly to just be a bit more minimal looking. And I really like how they turned out. Okay, so now that all of those are down, goodness gracious, I'm going to go ahead and put the monthly sticker over here on the side. And I think that is all of the decoration I really want to do for now for the monthly. Like I mentioned, I will do the rest of them off camera, and essentially once I start using the planner, this is what it would look like with all of the emoji head stickers in here as well. I may end up adding in some washi, maybe. I may keep it more simple. I haven't really decided yet, but I did want to use both of those items for sure for my monthly. So I'm going to do the rest of the months off camera, and then I'm going to come back. I'm also going to take a bit of a break because I have been doing this for a good chunk of time already today, and I want to take a bit of a break. So I'm going to come back. The lighting may be a bit different, and I will go on to the next section after I finish all the monthlies. Okay, I am back. It is much later in the day. I did take a pretty long break and did a few other things, and I'm ready to go back to setting this baby up. I finished the monthlies all the way through, and I wanted to give an example of how I'm going to use it on these pages here. So like I mentioned, it'll have the monthly being a more mood tracker using the emoji heads from the Coffee Monsters Co. And then I also want to track my weight by week. So that's just something I like to keep track of. It's a number that, I don't know, fascinates me, I guess. And then at the bottom here, I set up a habit tracker to track if walking 15 minutes a day, doing my skincare routine, and also taking my supplements. And so I'll just mark an X for all of those days. I started doing this at the bottom of my 2025 planner here. Hold on, let me get to September. I didn't do super well with it, but I want to try again. I think August was my best month, and I want to keep the habits that I track there to be, I guess, more overall vague habits, not super specific. So we're going to give it a shot. Anyways, I also picked out a washi tape that matched all of my little stickers. All of the washi tapes are from the Coffee Monsters Co. I have quite a stash of her tapes, so I just kind of put down ones I thought matched really well and looked really cute and kind of went along with, I guess, the season of the year. I didn't really put too much thought into it. I was just working on stuff until I had to go run some errands. So here is all of the monthlies. So now I'm ready to move on into the final monthly, which is another one of the collection pages that I want to do. So much like the one we did earlier with the restaurants, we're going to do another collection page, but this one's going to be all about like talks, tunes, podcasts, things like that. And this is the one that I currently have for my 2025 journal. So I want to essentially emanate the same qualities, write down music I'm really enjoying, or like Renaissance periodization, so like podcasts I'm listening to, but I also want to add in YouTube channels to this, which mainly it's just I want to mark down the content I'm consuming on a very small scale. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start setting up the collection part of this. I'm gonna do the exact same thing as I did in the last one and use this skinny washi tape to cover up the months, or the weekdays, and also kind of frame the page. And I'm gonna use the same kind of drippy black washi from 𝗏𝗏 as well, just so that way it's kind of uniform. But essentially, I'm just gonna frame this out really quick. Also, if you hear my dogs going nuts, they are outside barking at our neighbors getting their roof done. So I can't really do anything about that. And I apologize if they are annoying, or you can even hear them. I don't know. They're just, you know, protecting the house in a way. Okay, so now that that is down, I'm going to go ahead and take that drippy washi again and just do a little section up here at the top, and then flip it over again so like the drips are like going into the center of the page, and do pretty much the exact same layout as I did on the last one. So I'm going to just do a little bit on the opposite side as well as like the full strip on the right. Okay, and then the stickers I want to put in the corner down here kind of match a little bit to the same theme-ish, I guess, as the last collection page. And I have a home sticker from the Coffee Monsters Co. and then another one of the numerology stickers from my shop. So I kind of want to just do the same layout where they're in the corner over here, just kind of layered a little bit, and I'll add one of those gold stars just so everything looks very uniform. And then we will do the heading on the other side like I did the restaurants, and this time it'll say something different. Obviously I'm not going to write restaurants for a second time. I don't really know if I want to do like talks and tunes, which is what I did for 2025, or if I want to do something like loving content or content loving, like content I'm loving, I guess, because it's ultimately content I'm consuming, right? Like music is a form of content, same with like the YouTube podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm wondering if I should just call it content versus like talks and tunes. Also, if you're curious what any of the numerology means, I do have it labeled underneath my description based on what I know of numerology. Obviously, there's probably lots of interpretations, so just take what I put on there, I guess, with a grain of salt, or do your own research. But I'm just going to add a couple of these stars, just like before. Add a little bit of the page freckles to make it a little bit more it's a little less negative space. And then we're going to do the title. So I'm going to take the same Pentel sign brush pen over here, and I think I'm just going to do the same thing where it's like, I don't know, because I like the talks and tunes that I did for my 2025 book. See, like talks and tunes. But I feel like I want to change it up a little bit. I'm just going to do content I'm loving. Just let's YOLO. Let's do it. I think I can handle that. And just for my own sanity, I'm going to flip back to this one and see that they are both relatively uniform, which they are missing some page freckles on this one. So I'm just going to add a couple dots here and there, just so that way we are respectively similar. Okay. That is it for the monthly section. The next section in here is the weekly, and I'm not going to be doing any weekly spreads with you guys, but I will show, I guess, examples of how I have used the weeklies previously. So here is typically how I use it. I know this looks really busy, but I'll try to explain it. I have like a section here for where I track my meals. I have a section over here tracking my workouts, my minutes of meditation, or my minutes or miles running. And then I have a section here for fasting, which I have since changed. And I also have a section here for meal planning, which I also have since changed. I have a section for how am I feeling, and then I have a section for habits. To put it in perspective, this is kind of how my layout has changed throughout the year. So currently now I do still have the meals, and I have like workouts and running. I dropped meditation for now. I do plan on bringing that back. And then for my other page over here, I have rearranged this to get rid of the fasting and the meal tracking or meal prepping, and instead moved my routine check off or habits to the top. Left my little mental health section here, and then instead added in my supplement routine at the bottom. So probably going to keep up with this more so than the fasting, just because I do want to be more diligent about my supplements, especially like my multivitamins, hair, skin, and nails, creatine are the 3 that I'm taking right now. So I want to be more active with these for now. And I may change this as the year goes. I mean, it's a fluid system, but that's essentially how I use the weeklies and how the weeklies will end up looking at some point. But I do want to go ahead and add tabs to the planner. So I am going to use tabs from my shop. I really think the honey tabs, the warm honey colors, matched my theme in the front very well with kind of like the peachy yellows and like the more cafe colors. So I definitely want to use these. And then I also have just my blank yellow tabs, which I'm going to use to kind of label out the miscellaneous sections in here as well. But I'm going to start with just doing the monthly tabs first, and then I'm going to go from there. And I'm going to do this backwards because I find that it's a little bit easier to work with. And this was a tip given to me by Siobhan, and I'm so grateful. And I'm just going to start with December because the notes pages are going to be broken down very differently. And I want to do some different tabs for that. But yeah, so we're going to start with December, and I want to lay out the tabs to where like every time I flip the tab over, it starts on the page with the first of the month. And I'm going to start at the bottom with December, like I mentioned. And I will explain this again for anybody who is new to using tabs, especially if you get them from my shop. This is what they look like. They have a little slit down the middle, make them very easy to fold. You can line up the edge of the page with the delineating line, delineating line, just to make it easier to place them. And then after that, you can fold them over. I personally like to keep all of my tabs nice and open, so like I leave them open completely until I am ready, like all of the tabs are on, and then I'll fold them over just so that way I can make sure they're spaced the way I want. And it makes it a little bit easier to maneuver them if they're already open like this. This does also take a little bit of time, so I'm gonna try to speed through this process and yeah, go from there. Yeah, just prepare for lots of paper rustling sounds. Okay, so now that all of those are on, I'm just going to close the book really quick and see if they're lined up the way I want, which they look perfectly well to me. And now I'm going to go ahead and flip them over for the weeklies and make sure that when I flip the tab, it's landing to the page with the first of the month of that correct month. And that I'm not accidentally folding 2 pages into one tab, because I definitely have done that plenty of times. Oops, see? And I just folded like 4 pages like in one right here. My tabs are not designed to be removable, but if you go slow, you will likely succeed. Okay, so there's that. Let's make sure. Okay, yeah, that was the only one I did too. And then here we have November. And finally, December. Okay, so the tabs for the weekly section is done. I think they look nice. I like that my clear cover kind of sticks out a little bit too to protect them. They are weatherproof, so I'm not worried about that, but it's kind of nice, I think. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the planner in terms of like the stuff in the back before I do the rest of the tabs, just because I think I want to handwrite all of the other sections and then leave the weekly ones in this font, so that way they stand out a bit more from the other types of things I have in the planner. But anyways, let's move on into these notes pages, which is probably the most intense section of my health planner. I like to keep track of all the things in this thing, in this planner. It's a lot. And this year I decided I want to go ahead and section my sections off with vellums. So I am going to use an assortment of the Dice Gem vellums from my shop. These are all cut in the Weeks size. I do think I want to round the corners, maybe. I haven't decided yet, so I've left them all plain. But I am going to be using these to kind of use as dividers in the back because I do have a lot of different things I want to keep track of in the back of this book. So the first section is going to be habit trackers. So I'm going to go ahead and do the header page first, and then I'm going to attach the vellum using some washi tape. That way it's a little bit more, I don't know, easy for me to work around, because I feel like if I add the vellum and then write in the book, it's a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to do the title page first, and I do want to use a vinyl for each one of the title pages, just because I feel like I need to. I don't know, I feel like I need to use up stuff that I have. So a lot of these will be from my shop, but I do have a couple, I think, from the Coffee Monsters Co. that I'm also using up. But this one is the Don't Forget to Water Yourself watering can. And I felt it was appropriate for the habit section because tracking my water intake is definitely one of the habits that I really like to keep track of. So I'm going to just put this in the center-ish of the page, just like that. I'm going to add a star from my sheet here just to keep up with the ongoing theme. And I am going to add a few page freckles. And then I'm going to use this big marker here, the Tombow, to write out the title page. I could use a smaller one, but I think I want to use the big one for the title pages back here. So I'm just going to do habit trackers. Trying to decide if I want to do like print again or if I want to do cursive, because this is print and then cursive. I think I'm going to do cursive. Okay, so I think that's good for title page wise. I think I'm going to add one more star, actually, just kidding. Okay, and now I'm done. And now we're going to attach the vellum. So I want to do the clear one for this. And the way I'm going to attach the vellum is using washi tape. So I just picked a thin washi tape here. You could use a regular washi tape. It really does not matter. You can even use a glue pen and glue it in. I just like the look of the washi. I think it's fun. So I am going to place washi on the edge of this vellum on my desk. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of overhang just so I can trim it as well. And I just am going to line the edge of the vellum. So essentially half of the tape is sticking out. So it's covering half the tape here, and then half of the tape is also sticking out. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess just so that way it's a really nice sharp line. And then we are going to stick it in the planner. And the way I am going to do this is essentially, I don't know how well I'm able to show this on camera, but I'm going to place this down, like line it up with the crease of the planner itself. And then I'm going to take my pencil board, if I can pull it out. I'll just grab a new one. Pencil board, you could also use a ruler. And I'm going to line it up with the crease and just push in with the pencil board. And this is just the easiest way I have found to get the crease very deep. Yeah, usually like a card, like even like a washi card or a credit card even can do the same thing, but that way the tape goes into the crease of the page and you can easily flip this back and forth and it doesn't just like stand straight up, because a lot of times when you're sticking it in, I find that it stands straight up if you don't get the washi deep enough into the crease of the page. But I am very, very happy with how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to set up our very first habit tracker. And this is pretty much the only tracker I'm going to set up with you guys on camera, because these are, I don't know, it's easier for me to pull it close to my face, and when I have a camera it's harder to do that. So I'm going to just show you guys what's going to happen here. So essentially my trackers have stayed the same for quite a few years now. This is what they look like. I have a grid or a graph on one side, a little section for notes, a little section for like my menstruation, and then a whole slew of habits and food groups that I keep track of over here. And the way I like to use these is essentially I correlate like my food groups, caffeine, exercise, all that, to how it goes up here with my sleep, mood, and stress graph. And it's kind of like my own way to analyze maybe what I'm doing down here is affecting what's doing up here. I don't have a super scientific system for this, or super like, I don't know, nitty gritty system. I don't know how to say it. Like, it's not, you know, 100% accurate. It's very subjective. Yeah, like I kind of make it up as I go. Anyways, this is essentially what we are going to be doing on these pages. So I did find my 2024 book, which is actually the last sterling ink that I had for this size planner. I love this thing. And I'm going to show you guys how I did the habits in this one, because essentially it is going to be the exact same. So this is what it will look like as the year goes on. And I brought this out as well so I could see how I spaced things last time. Last time I used this planner to make it a bit easier for myself in setup purposes, but I really like just using the black pen. It makes it very simple, very easy to use, and ultimately just makes it easy, makes it truly easy. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and flip the book to the side here, and I am going to count the number of squares from my 2024 book and essentially mirror this over here with just the graphing part. So I'm going to take my Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liner in light gray. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to draw some lines. So essentially, it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 squares from the edge of the page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm just going to do a little dot there, and then I'm counting 1, 2, how did I do this? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 down. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, okay. So that is essentially the graph line. So I'm going to just connect those two dots. And then on this other side, I am going to draw a line all the way to the edge. Well, almost to the edge. I'm going to leave like three-ish, 4-ish squares alone over here. And that is the bottom of the graph. I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing because this light is so light. Let me zoom you guys in. Okay, you might be able to see a little bit better, but this is essentially what I just drew, was just this line, these lines right here. So alternatively, I'm going to go ahead and add in a different line like this, and I'm actually going to extend my habits up onto this other page, because my menstruation and that kind of stuff is going to be tracked with my family planning section of this planner. So I'm not going to be tracking that on this page here. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave probably like, I don't know, 4 sections, four squares worth, and then just draw another one of those lines. And then I'm going to finish drawing the rest of this line. So it's going to go from here all the way to the edge of the page over here. So I'm going to zoom you guys out again, just so you can see a bit more of what I'm doing. So I'm going to draw from here all the way down to here. Okay, so this gives me ample room to track all of the things, which I love. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and write out the like numbers and stuff of how this is going to be written about. So I'm just going to take my fountain pen. Actually, no, I'm going to take my Jetstream that came with the Hobonichi. I feel like this is a little bit thinner. It'll look nicer. And I'm going to write 1 through 31 over here on the top line. And then I'm also going to write a scale of 10 on the other axis over here. So I'm going to start at the bottom and do 1 and then go all the way up to 10. And essentially that's the scale that I would rate my sleep, mood, and stress on. So sleep in number of hours, stress in a scale of 1 to 10 of the day, and then mood also on a scale of 1 to 10. And that just kind of helps me create the little graph that I want here. Okay, so for the bottom part here, I'm going to go ahead and write out 1 through 31 again on the top of this line. And that will be the dates that I reference when I'm going to be doing the habit tracking down here, or the group tracking, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and write out some of the habits that I want to keep track of on this side, as well as my little scale over here. So I'm going to take my fountain pen for this, which is the same Jinhao 10 with the Pilot Black inside of it. And for sleep, I'm actually going to be using a mild liner to help see my sleep over here. So I'm not going to do a color for this just yet, but I am going to leave a space underneath my sleep to mark that in. And then for stress, or actually I'll do mood next. For mood, I'm going to leave that one as a dotted line. And then for stress, I'm going to do this one as a solid line. And that way, when the graph is complete, I will have essentially bars of what my sleep is, and then the mood and stress to kind of correlate what it would look like. Then for my habits down here at the bottom, I have quite a few of these I'm going to go through, so I'm just going to write them down and then maybe voice over what I wrote down just to make it a bit quicker for myself. Okay, so essentially what I have written on here are habits that I have tracked before, but I also added in a few different food groups to this as well. I've broken down my entire habit tracking in a separate video if y'all are interested about that, where I only talk about habit tracking. But for the sake of this video, this is what I wrote down. So I wrote down reading, Spanish, Japanese, meditation, stretching, lifting weights, walking, running, water intake, fruit intake, vegetable intake, dairy, gluten, sugar, soda, coffee, tea, eating out, fast food, conversation, leaving the house, 20 minutes outside, teeth, hair, moisturizers, exfoliating, and then bowel movements, which is something that I've talked about I want to start tracking. So I am keeping all of this as my habits to start the year off with. I am only going to fill out the first month here, and then as the months go on is when I add in different habits. So I don't start the year with the same habits as I end the year with. So it kind of transforms as the year goes on, but this is what I'm starting with for January. Okay, and with that, the last thing I'm going to do here is go ahead and just write out the month at the top here, so I know that it is January. And I think I'm just going to pick a color that matches the January monthly. Let's see. So the January monthly is kind of like a light blue color. I think I'm going to do that one. Matches pretty good, I think. So I'm going to just use this one and write January up here at the top. This is another Pentel Sign brush pen, sorry. And the color of this one, I don't know what it is because I took the sticker off, but I think it's from one of their like 5 packs, like one of the smaller packs. Okay, and that is a nice icy blue. I really like that. And then I'm just going to write in up here at the top above that, habit tracker. and the year, which is 2026. Okay, and essentially that is all I'm going to do for the habit tracker section with you guys. As the year goes on, I'll show updates of like how this looks and what happens to it. And then as for the rest of this section, I'm going to do that off camera. Otherwise you guys would be here with me for a very long time, which I've talked about before. So let's keep going and move into the next section of this little planner. And I did pre-count all of these pages before I did this video, just so that way I would have the right number to go off of. But the next section in this book I want to do is my running log. That is something I have severely lacked on in terms of what I did in 2025. But I am giving myself grace because I did plan a whole wedding in less than a year and got married and all of that kind of stuff. So I was very preoccupied with doing all of that. And now that it is done, I am a married woman, I think I'm going to be able to focus a bit more on my running and what I have goals for with that, which is to run a 10K again. I did a 10K in 2024 and I really want to do another one. So I'm hoping that I can get that done in 2026. And I'm just going to take the big Tombow marker again and just title this one out as running log. I definitely need a new black Tombow. This thing is so frayed, oh my gosh. But I don't have a new one, so we're gonna just work with what I have here. We're gonna make it work. Anyways, I'm just gonna leave it nice and chunky like that and just do script like I did with the last one. And I'm gonna add one more star down here at the bottom with some more of those page freckles. Okay, and then we're going to do another vellum, and I think I want to do the green one for this one because running is very green. I'm usually outside when I'm running. I don't prefer to run on a treadmill. It's very boring to me, so I just prefer to run outside. And I think the green one is more suitable for that. So same process as before. I'm going to line the edge of my washi here on the edge of the vellum, so half of the washi is on the vellum and half of the washi is off of the vellum. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of excess so that way it's easier for me to trim and make it straight to match the edges of the planner. And I'm trying to like train the book as I go because like with all new books, getting them to lie flat right off the bat is sometimes a challenge. There are some books that do it, but this one is thinner and does not like to lay flat right off the bat. But we're essentially doing the same process as before. I'm cutting the edges to make them straight. And by edges, I just mean the edges of the washi to make them straight. And then I'm going to line it up with the crease without pushing down. Just make sure it's right everywhere else. And then I'm going to take the pencil board and essentially push into the crease with the pencil board. And this one ended up sticking a little bit too far away, so I'm going to peel it up slowly and give it another chance. And I think it's because this one is right at the section of the, what's it called? The booklets that how they bind the planner. It's like right at the booklet edge where everything is sewn in. Okay, here we go. Second time is the charm, right? That's a little bit better. I think I can live with that. And sometimes you just got to take your very long fingernail and push it all the way in. If you don't have a long fingernail, you can also use the back of tweezers or scissors. Just be careful not to push too hard if the thing you're using is really sharp, because you can actually puncture the washi and then it is just pointless and the thing will fall out. But yeah, that is vellum number 2 done for the running log section. Essentially, I am going to set up January with you guys, like I mentioned, and then I will set up the rest of the months on my own. But each month is going to get their own page. So we'll just use the same blue marker, and I will show you guys how I have done this before. There we go. So I have the month at the top, and then essentially how I've done it, the breakdown is the date I went on the run, the time I took running, the number of miles or distance I ran, my pace, and then any notes about the run. And this is how it would look all filled out. This was when I was training for my 10K in 2024. So there's actually a decent amount of runs on these pages, because 2025's is completely blank, if I'm being honest. So that's essentially what I'm about to do with you guys. So we're going to title this out as January over here. And I'm going to go ahead and write with my fountain pen the 2026 running log up here at the top. And we are going to use the gray, I have a darker gray. We're going to use a darker gray Tri Plus fine liner to do the headings here. So like I mentioned, it's going to be the date I ran, the time that I ran, the distance, the pace, and then any notes I have. And that's just how I format it when I do the log as I go. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave these pages very blank in the hopes that I do many, many runs and I can put many, many things in here. I may end up going back through and add washi as the months go on, or if you noticed in this other planner, I added larger stickers when I wasn't doing any running at all. I may end up doing that as well, just to help fill in the space so it doesn't look too blank. But we're having high hopes. We're going to succeed in 2026 with my runs. So I'm going to move on to the next section and we're going to just keep going. So then after the running log, I want to go ahead and have a media log. This is something I did back in 2024 as well, just because I really enjoyed keeping track of like the TV shows and things I was watching. I did keep track of it somewhat in 2025, but I like the system I had better in 2024. So we're going to go back to that. And with that, I'm going to use another little vinyl here. And I think I'm going to use my cute little tea frog, because usually the shows I like to watch are full of drama or mystery. And the frogs know the tea, you know. So we're just going to use him as the poster child for my media log here. And what I keep track of, like with my media log, is usually TV shows or Netflix. Sometimes if it's like a really long type of thing on YouTube, like Critical Role or a documentary I watched on YouTube. Basically just any kind of content that I am watching on the regular. I like to keep track of it in here because it also helps me see like what content I reconsume. For instance, like the movie Pride and Prejudice with oh my gosh, I just blanked on her name. What? Keira Knightley, goodness gracious. It's like the 2013 Pride and Prejudice, I think. I've watched that movie every year, so I like to keep track of how many times I watch it because it's one of my favorites. Anyways, let's go ahead and title this baby out as Media Log. And we are going to do yet another vellum. And I think for this one, I want to do a yellow because he matches the frog really well. So I'm just going to take the thin washi, again, same process, and just kind of label this out on top. And then I will trim it. I'm connected to things. the same process as before, we are going to line up the edge of this with the crease of the page. And then take my pencil board and essentially push the washi into the crease. And it did the same thing as before because I am lower to this. I'm going to just push this a little bit more further over, and I'm just going to use my nail. Oops, and I ripped it. That's what I didn't want to happen. That's why I used the washi, or the pencil board. It's okay. It didn't rip all the way through the whole thing. It just ripped in like one spot, so I should be okay. There we go. Anyways, it's on. I'm definitely struggling with this now. I think I'm tired, so we're just gonna try to push through the rest of this, and then I will come back at a later time to show you guys the final thing. But let's just keep going. But for the media log, essentially this is what it will look like. I have the month here, and then I will have a list of all the TV shows and such that I will watch. So this is how 2024's ended up looking, and I have a feeling that 2026 will be similar. It's just got the date and then literally what episode I watched, or the show, things like that. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to title the top of this with January and write down the 2026 media log, and then go to the next section. Alright, so it looks pretty much the same as the running log, but it's just for media purposes versus running. So the next section I want to put in here is my weightlifting tracking, or my weightlifting, tracking, logging. I think it's considered more logging, but this is something I started in 2025 when I was getting really into my weightlifting stuff, and I really like how it turned out. So essentially in the back of my Hobonichi Weeks here, I have the date, which these are the square dates from my shop that I was using to see what day it was, and then on the right hand side of the date I wrote down what workout I did. I didn't do super well in the beginning, but as the year has gone on, I've done a bit better, and there was a point where I was actually writing down like my actual weights and reps and things like that, and I really enjoyed looking back on this and seeing how I was doing and how I adjusted. And then in August I did the same thing where I was writing down weights and reps, and I even added in a little excerpt of like how the workout was. Like, did I feel like I was going to die? Do I feel like I crushed it? And I want to do this, I think, a bit more. So I left 5 pages per month for this section, and I'm hoping that's going to be enough. I'm probably going to just do this in, like, set it up as the month goes on versus pre-set up like January, February, March, like only give my month 5 pages in case some months I work out more, some months I work out less, because that's likely what's going to happen. It'll be a little bit more of a flux situation, but that is essentially what the section will end up looking like. And the vinyl I chose for this section is the Cute and Moody cow from my shop, and I don't know, whenever I go to the gym, sometimes I feel cute and sometimes I feel moody, so it's the perfect one for this section for me. She's just so cute and so moody. And we're gonna add a couple of stars just to keep up with the theme, and some page freckles. And then we're gonna title this out. My eye looks kind of smooshed, but I'm okay with it for now. I might change it later, I don't know. But I'm just going to go at weightlifting and then log, and then again grab another one of those stars. Look at that, I've almost made it through a whole sheet. I'm so proud of myself. And then do a few more page freckles, do some up here in this corner, and then add in the vellum for this section. And I think I want to do the pink dice gems for this one to match the little pink nose of my cow. She is so cute. I'll just stick that pen there. And I don't even know if I said this, but this washi is from the Coffee Monsters Co. It's just like little suns. I don't know if that was necessary to mention. You can't really see it when it's used like this, but it is a very cute little washi. Okay, and then here we go back in here with our application, and let's see if I can get it right this time. I'm just going to start with my nail this time because we're already here, and I'm just not going to press very hard. Yeah, that was way easier. If you don't have nails though, use the pencil board. It works very well. Okay, I'm going to take those washi scraps off the back of my hand, and we are just going to keep going through this. So that is the weightlifting log. Again, I'm going to wait to do this section until I start in January, so I'm going to leave this blank for now, but it will hopefully end up looking something like this, with the date and then like an excerpt of like what I was doing for that month or that workout or whatever. And then the last section I have in here is my reading log, and essentially it's going to be the same as I have done in my Journal of Joy book here, where I have a full page reading sticker, which I'm going to use a blank one this year. And instead of just doing only the titles, I'm going to write a little bit of a review underneath each entry. At least that's the plan. But I also want to use the blank version so I can color coordinate like with my monthlies, kind of like how I color coordinate with the books that I'm reading. I want to color coordinate on the little sticker as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this full page sticker down on this side, and then I'm going to use the vellum next to it, and then I'm going to enter all of the entries behind it, if that makes sense. But let me pull this the other direction so I can see what I'm doing a bit easier, because I want this to be pretty centered, or as centered as I can get it. And then I'm going to use the same trick as before with the pencil board and just kind of slowly pull the backing off and use the pencil board to push down the full page sticker, so that way the whole thing is getting pushed onto the paper and I'm not getting any air bubbles. And she looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Man, Siobhan really came through with the technique on that one. I'm so grateful to you. Okay, so that is essentially all I'm going to do for this, because it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's read, and I'm going to just add the vellum on top of it just to make it another section in this book. So I'm going to pull this to the side over here and do our very last vellum, which is super exciting. And so everything is put together. I'm going to just line this up with the page, same as before. And again, I think I'm just going to use my nail for ease of use, but you can always use the pencil board, washi card, credit card, whatever, to help you push that into the crease. And it looks fantastic. I'm very happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to leave the rest of these pages blank because those will be for book reviews. And then the last thing I want to decorate in this planner is the back page. So if you remember from way back earlier when we started, I have this page here in the front. So I have the wallpaper and then 3 vinyls. Well, I want to do the same thing. So I have the wallpaper and then I have these 3 vinyls here. So I have essentially the sister to the roasted leaf or dried leaf water is the roasted bean water. So I'm going to put this one at the bottom, and then I'm going to use this Coffee Monsters Co. Nutrition Facts as like the opposite one over here. I thought about doing like my rising sign, which is Virgo, but I have these and I want to use them up. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this one down. And then I'm also going to use a numerology sticker again. And this one is going to be 444 right here in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and place these out so that way it matches the front of the planner and just adds a level of, you know, cohesion to the look of the book. Hey, that rhymed, the look of the book. I think I'm just going to peel this off. There's a really weird, like, awkward sticker piece hanging off that probably got stuck to it from something on my desk because my desk is an absolute mess. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this closer to me again so I can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to do the nutrition label fact on the other side and balance it out. Remember, we're doing the top and the bottom first, and then we do the middle, so that way everything is evenly spaced. And then I'm going to add the stars here after that once I put this 444 down. Alright, it's not super even, but it's the flyleaf page, and it probably threw me off because of that, but it's fine. It looks good. I am okay with it. We're going to add a few stars here. I'm going to cut this one and then use the side of it over here so that way it balances the page a bit better. And then use this other part up here. Okay, and then we're just going to add a few page freckles. Just to help add more of the more to the page. And I think I am done with that for now. Okay, so this was a big long chunk for me. I'm gonna take a rest and I'm gonna go back through and finish the pages that I said I was going to do. So like the tracker pages, I'll finish filling out the monthly header pages for the logs in the back, and then I will come back for one final time and we will do a flip through of the whole book as a completed unit. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll be back in a second, your time. It'll probably be like a day, maybe 2 days. I don't know. Whenever I have time to pick this up again, I'll be back to do the rest of it. So I finished, and I want to show you guys the completed version. I went ahead and added in all of the tabs and all that kind of good stuff. And I finished out like the monthly sections and the back trackers and things like that. So let's go ahead and flip through this baby. And then at the end, I'm going to stick it in this gorgeous Tragen cover over here. But let me zoom you guys in just a little bit more. So on the front cover here, I have all of the vinyl stickers. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I love the very warm sunshine, almost like, I don't know, golden vibes it's giving. I'm really happy with it, and you know, vibing over here with the Coffee Monsters co-sticker. I'm also very happy with how my washi wallpaper turned out. Although the design doesn't like match up, I feel like it looks really good all together. And I prefer this to like the blank paper look or like the little patterned design look that usually comes with the planner, like the Hobonichi insides. So very happy with that. My flyleaf page here with my nameplate and the dried leaf water and my nutrition label. Another thing I really like how it came together. It's very clean looking. I feel like a lot of previous years I've been very busy, and I feel like I'm slowly cleaning it up a little bit. Yes, it's still busy, but I like it. So that's all that matters. The first tab I have here is the Year at a Glance tab. I have my vision board over here on the left, and then on the right, I'm really happy with my setup of this too. My key is headaches, digestive system, and depressive episodes for my pain tracking. I debated on labeling it up here as like pain management or something like that, but I think I want to just leave it like it is. And then the next pages here are my body measurement pages. I went ahead and added in all of the labels And then at the end of this year, so like late December 2025, I'll take my body measurements. And then next year at the end of the year, so December 2026, I'll take those measurements then too and compare the two and see how it goes. I'm very interested to see how my current planner system works with this page too, since I have my 2024 measurements already in there. Next is the goal pages. Again, I went ahead and filled all of these out off screen. I think originally was going to read them off to you guys, but honestly, there's just a lot going on here and it's very personal to me. If you're curious, I guess you could pause and read them all if you can read my handwriting. But ultimately, like for my running, I want to run a marathon someday. For my weightlifting, I want to be able to squat 185 pounds and bench 100 pounds this year. For healthy eating, I want to eat out less and have more food at home, as well as whole foods versus like processed foods. Mental health, I said I want to be more confident. And then for family planning, I'm trying to become a mom, hopefully this next year. So that's definitely part of this journey. And then for medicine, I want to be able to be like completely off like pharmaceutical medications if I can, and also find more natural ways to like overcome health issues like cold medicine versus like tea, things like that. Then for the next section in here is the tracker pages, and I went ahead and added my key for family planning. And I'm not going to show this on the internet because it's very personal to me, but this is where I'm hoping to track all of those things regarding starting a family. And then for the quarterly pages, I went ahead and decorated these too. Originally, I think I left them blank and I was going to leave them blank until the start of the year, but I had some time and I was feeling like I wanted to fill them out, so I filled them out. I picked a color for every single month, and then I coordinated a washi that coordinates to the monthly pages, and then I also created a little key for each month. I didn't write out what the key stands for yet for the rest of the quarters, but for the first quarter, I know I want to track exercise here. Pretty sure it's going to be the same for the rest of the year, but I just picked 3 colors that matched the markers I used, and the markers I used were the Pentel Sign brush pens like these and the Zig Dot clean color dot markers. So I'm very happy with the way this paper is behaving this year. I've had no bleed through, no feathering or anything like that yet. I'm very excited to do more fountain pen stuff and see how it goes with that. But I did end up decorating the rest of the quarterly pages here, and I just tabbed this off as the quarterly section. Then for the monthly section, the first monthly, I just reshaped into a collections page, and I'm hoping to do this as like a tracking of restaurants. I'm currently doing this in my 2024 book, or my 2025 book. So I have a page that's similar in my Hobonichi Weeks here, where I'm tracking the different restaurants we're visiting throughout the year, and I'm hoping to do the same thing in my 2026 book here. And then we go into the monthlies, and I just kind of offset this monthly tab up here. I am going to use these Midori index tabs, which are little metal clips. I plan on just like taking these out of my old books and putting them in my new ones because they're reusable, and using those to kind of find my place in the planner, while on the side the monthly tab is a little bit more offset. Anyways, for the monthly system here, I really like the way it turned out with my date dots for my shop, and how I have like the habits down here and the washi tape, and I feel like it all correlates very well, and it'll look really cute with using my little emoji stickers for like the mood board stuff. Like I mentioned, like this is the plan for all of this stuff, is to do mood stickers. But yeah, I'm very happy with how this looks. My only regret is that I didn't plan for the weeks or the months where there's 6 weeks, because I had my little habit tracker thing down here, and this is not going to work on the months that I have the 6 weeks thing going on. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet. I might just skip doing a monthly tracker for those months. I didn't think about it when I was trying it out. And I mean, it's only really, I think, a couple of the months of the year anyways. So yeah, March and August. But hopefully it won't make too big of a difference. Okay, so 3 months out of the year. Well, we'll see what happens. That's a bridge I'm going to cross when I get there. Anyways, that was all the monthly pages. And then the last monthly, I again transformed into a collection page and made this more about like content I'm loving, or talks and tunes, which is how I did it in my current book. And it's essentially like music and podcasts and things I'm really enjoying listening to or finding and enjoying. And I'm hoping to also add YouTube artists or channels that I really fall in love with as well in here too. Then we have the weekly section, and I'm not going to set anything up with this yet. I'm going to wait until the year starts. So again, I'm going to use my old planner here, my current planner, as an example. So I'm going to use it kind of like this in a format where I have my meal tracking on one side, workouts, meditation, and running tracking, my mental health section, routines, and then for my current system, I have supplements in here as well. So I'll probably do some kind of similar thing to this, if not the exact same thing to this, where I'll just draw out some lines on the page and then add in some stickers for fun. I also did this in 2024, very similar layout, and this is the same planner, so I'm excited to have more space again. Just the Sterling Ink N2 has, like, I don't know, a few more millimeters or squares worth of space at the bottom because there's no quotes, and I'm excited to see if I need to, or excited to see what I can do to utilize a little bit more space on this side. But that is essentially how I'm going to use the weeklies, and then I tabbed all of those out using my warm honey tabs from my shop again. And then when we get to the notes pages here in the back, I went ahead and sectioned off each thing with, again, one of those yellow tabs that are handwritable. So all I did with that was I took a yellow tab and used my Jetstream to write really, really tiny what it was on the tab, and then I put the tab on the planner, like all the other tabs. Anyways, I also separated all these sections out with the vellums. So these are the Dice Gem vellums, again from my shop, cut down to the weeks size, and I just taped them in using some thinner washi. I don't want to call it skinny washi, but like I think this is 10 mil washi, just so it doesn't poke out super strongly onto the design. Anyways, first section is habits, and I went ahead and set up a habit tracker with you guys, and then I showed you guys which habits I am writing here. If you're interested in more about habit tracking, I have a whole separate series or videos on them. Y'all can check those out there. But for here, I went ahead and just outlined the rest of the months. So I just wrote the name of the month up at the top, and then wrote out the days and the scale, and just kind of like outlined the graph in the habit tracking table sections. As the months go on, I will update which habits I want to track, or meal groups, or whatever. I don't like pre-doing the whole year because I do shift. Like, I don't always track the same things as the year goes on. But I went ahead and set up all of the trackers in a way so they were ready to go. You just have to write in what I want to put in here. Anyways, I did actually end up with one extra page in here, so I miscounted, which is fine. It happens. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. I did go ahead and outline it as if it was another month of tracking, so I may change this into a list. I may stick photos in here. I don't know yet. I'm just going to leave it like it is for now and come back to it another time. Then I have the next section, which is my running log. And again, I went ahead and just labeled all of these tops for each month. So January all the way through December, with the logging system I want to keep, which keeps track of like the date I ran, time I ran, distance, pace, and notes of the run. I'm really hoping this year I can get back into it, since I'm not planning a wedding anymore. So I can dedicate a bit more time to my running habit and hobby that I want to get better at. Then the next section is my media log. I'm bringing this back. I did this back in 2024, where I basically kept a running log of all the different shows and movies I was consuming, even by episode, just because I felt it was really fun to see like how much I was consuming. I've done something similar in my 2025 book, but it's not quite what I want. So I'm going to go back to doing it this way. And again, I just kind of outlined each page with the monthly title, and I will fill this out as the year goes on. I can show you an example of how this looked in my 2024 book, because that is when I last used it. And I basically just kept a running log of all of the media. So I would put the date I would watch it and what I watched, whether it was a season 1, episode blah, 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 through blah, blah, blah. If it was a movie, if we went to a theater, I emboldened it in a different color. Like, it was just a very easy way for me to keep track of all the different stuff I was consuming. And I was really enjoying that. So definitely going to be bringing that back for 2026. The next section is my weightlifting section, and this is something new that I started in 2025 that I want to continue. And essentially, I'm going to be taking date squares for my shop again, and then writing out my workouts to the side. I really have enjoyed this so much already this year, and I'm excited to keep going with it in 2026. I really feel like it gives me a great overview of like how my progress is doing with weightlifting, especially since I have very specific goals to, squat 185 for reps and end up bench pressing 100 pounds, which I'm close to both of those things. So if I can reach the goal, I may adjust it by the end of the year. We'll see. But I'm definitely excited to add this into my 2026 book again, for keeping track of my weightlifting stuff. And then the last section I did in here is my reading log. So I took one of the full page reading stickers from my shop. This is the Weeks size in the blank version. And I'm going to color the books in as I read throughout the year and then write about them in the back. So again, I will show you how I've done it for 2025, since we're not quite there yet. But here is the colored version. So this is how I did it for 2025. I'm writing the numbers in the book and then writing the book over here. So I'm going to change it up a little bit for 2026. Like I said, I'm going to color in the book. So I'm going to color this book in with like this color. And then after this, I'm going to write the name of the book, the author, and also put my rating and maybe like a little blurb about it in here too. I am keeping track of reading in another book too, but this is like going to be a better space, I think, for me to go more in depth, I guess, about what I'm reading, like be more conscious of what I'm reading. Anyways, that is pretty much it for setup purposes. The rest of the stuff in here is just decoration. So I decorated the back page so it kind of matched the front page. I just like when everything looks, I don't know, cohesive. It makes me happy. And then I did the same wallpapering I did in the front, in the back. And then on the very back cover, I have my vellum. This is just the pencil board I'm going to keep with this planner. But yeah, I did my A5 week size vellum in the autumn colorway. It looks very dark on camera, but in person it is much brighter. I could always, go back, unstick it from the planner and put a white sheet of paper behind it, but I kind of like the more moody look that it has. I don't know. I like it. Anyways, let's go ahead and stick this in the cover. This is the Tragen Oak Moss cover from Hobonichi. I'm really excited to use this because if I need to take this planner with me anywhere, which I'm planning on taking it with me to like the gym and also maybe to doctor's appointments, hopefully like ultrasound baby appointments, I don't know, but we will see how that goes. But I am excited about this cover because it fits this planner, and it also has another pocket over here that I could stick stuff in, and it even has a little pencil case that I did test out with like a few pencils and stuff, and it holds pretty well. It doesn't look super bulky, so I'm very, very happy I picked this cover up. I was second guessing it for a while, but I'm very happy with my purchase. Anyways, that is it for my Sterling Ink N2 Weeks size health planner for 2026. Goodness gracious. Let me know if you have any questions about this planner. I have had health planners for several years now. I think I've done multiple setups on this channel and I've kept pretty consistent. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I also would love any feedback. If you think that I need to add something to my health planners, maybe that you keep track of, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Each one would probably be unique to each person, but I would love to hear any kind of things you like to keep track of, I guess, in your health planners. But yeah, for now, I'm going to stop talking. I feel like this video is already very long as it is, so I'm just going to stop here. I wish you guys the best. Be blessed. Stay tuned for other setups coming soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.